What's up, guys? Look, here's something I think about a lot. How in the world are all these developers gonna make money like moving forward if we already have too many homes? Like, how does that work? You know, to me, it's just wow. It just doesn't look great under the hood. And in fact, I would say that that's relatively normal given where we are and the fact that we just haven't really had a proper reset or real cycle in too long. So, look, the reason I say that is this morning I updated my permitting model. And look, when people talk about permitting, they're usually talking about it from a national level, or maybe they'll talk about it from maybe a census division, whatever it may be, but generally speaking at a high level. But I'm referring to the entire residential building permit survey. So I pulled the whole thing out, and it's available through June of 2025. And the advantage of doing that is, first off, you're just not going to find all that information in something like Fred. In fact, Fred only has limited data for a variety of different data series. But also, I mean, look, if you can model the data a certain way, it just allows for much more efficient analysis. I mean, it has everything, like all sorts of data for like states, metros, counties, cities, towns, micropolitan areas. You can look at permitting by like 1 unit, 2 units, 3, 4, 5+ units, like that same measure, the number of buildings, the value associated with the permits. And look, this trend that you're seeing with multifamily permits coming down, I mean, depending on the market you look at, you may see that trend, and you're seeing that more or less in Nashville, and that shouldn't be really a surprise. A place like Denver, not so much, which that is a little odd because, in fact, it's really weird because it's super bubbly out there. And in my opinion, Nashville city center is it's a matter of time before it starts looking like that here, because on paper there's a lot of similarities. But you'll hear people say, well, it's just a multifamily issue. And I'm just here to tell you, no, it's not. All right. It's an everything bubble. Is it more pronounced on the multifamily side? Absolutely. All right. And these things, of course, vary across markets. Absolutely. But like, let's just say if I'm talking about Nashville, more specifically city center, but we now have, single family inventory. It's now at pre-COVID levels. It's actually it looks like it's going higher, right, than that pre-COVID sort of trend. If you look at the latest numbers through like July, and now you're starting to see what looks to be really the beginning stages of like price declines. Okay. And again, it's just the beginning stages. So it would take a sustained period of that trend for it to meaningfully show up in a lower price. But that appears to be where we're going. So back to this idea that single family permitting is still very elevated. What is going on? I mean, is it this mentality of, well, like these guys just don't know about it better, and if you're a builder, you build? Is that it? Is that how simple this is? Or people just asleep at the wheel, or maybe they just think the government's going to come in and save them? I don't really know. But I will tell you this much. Just for the amount of grift that I see all over, whether it's Nashville, but this is an everywhere problem, all right? I, for one, am tired of driving around town and everything being endlessly under construction when we're not really growing, all right? And you might say, well, that's not entirely true. But when you look at how, say, our population is growing, or even what job growth looks like, it is all one giant polished turd that they're trying to sell you. That's what's going on. We have a poor quality growth problem really just across the board, right? If you look at how the population is growing, we're getting older. Okay, I mean Davidson County, it's a little younger, in the aggregate, but that trend still exists there. We have falling birth rates. We have more homes per capita than we've ever had, and that can't entirely be explained by all these demographic trends, which already took place. Those very large moves already took place a long time ago. Back in, we're talking in the 80s, 90s. So back to this idea of what are these guys going to do, right? How are they going to make money? When are they going to realize that they're screwed? I'll be honest with you. The amount of entitlement and greed that those guys have gotten away with, you know what? I'm sympathetic to the fact that they've had they have families. A lot of these guys do, but it's really just been at the expense of other people, and that what I'm describing is basically like the entire thing is just a complete Ponzi scheme. That's what it is. Um, I think if anybody's going to try and suggest otherwise, well, then just ask them to show you a chart. But if I think back to even like really these past couple of years where we were on the verge of going into a recession, late 22, early 23, we did this giant can kicking exercise with BTFP. It's 2 years later, all right, when that happened, and we're back to square one. So what did we accomplish? What are we doing? We accomplished nothing. In fact, all this has done is made the problem worse. People have lost their minds.